promised to introduce you to 16-year-old Corey Foster. Corey died at a New York special needs school earlier this year. News agencies report staff members at the school held Corey face down for allegedly refusing to get off the basketball court. Now, Corey's mother says that witnesses told her that Corey had complained that he couldn't breathe, but that the staff had told him, if you can talk, you can breathe. School leaders say that account's not substantiated and that the therapeutic hold that the staff initiated was performed correctly and in accordance with protocol. A state report later exonerated that facility in the case.
And in 2006, news agencies reported 7-year-old Angelica Arndt died after being suffocated while in a face-down restraint hold performed by staff members at a treatment center in Wisconsin. Reports show Angelica received academic assistance and therapy for a variety of psychological and developmental problems.
Now, according to published reports, other restraints that have been documented at schools across the country include electric shocks at a school in Massachusetts. The school caters to students with severe developmental disabilities and behavioral problems. At a school in Mississippi, there have been reports that children have been handcuffed to railings in the school gym. In 2009, the National Disability Rights Network recorded the cases of dozens of children, many of them autistic, being suffocated or injured while being restrained.
Now, these cases, while shocking, may be to the extreme. Now, when it comes to disciplining students who may be a danger to themselves or others, how far is too far?
Now, you may have heard yesterday on WBOC News about this next case. Actually, we posted it to our Facebook, and people immediately began to sound off on the story. At another school in Washington State, concern growing about an isolation box that's being used.
Yeah, the school district says the box is used as aversion therapy for a group of special needs students, but some parents aren't buying it.
The isolation box has holes in its sides and no top. The district says it's used as a tool for less than a dozen special needs students at Mint Valley Elementary. It's also a form of aversion therapy, de-escalating harmful behavior, and was drafted and approved by parents whose children use it. But the box is raising eyebrows in the community. These pictures were taken by a parent whose child says he's witnessed it used for punishment. Some parents and grandparents are not convinced it's a good idea.
I agree. The school has their hands full. They have to provide an education, but is that the proper way to put them in a box? No. Maybe a room with things that they can socialize with, but not a box. I mean, that's kind of old military school.
Ralph Pond's granddaughter is autistic and used to attend Mint Valley Elementary. He says he never knew the box existed until now. Some outraged parents believe it was kept a secret. School officials say it's not used for punishment, and they do not have plans to stop using it.
Now, since this story was published, that school district in Washington State has suspended use of the isolation booth while it reviews its policy.
Right.
Now, we want to, when I'm reading all of this and knowing a little bit about special needs children, a lot of teachers and a lot of workers, social workers, whatnot, are trained to restrain students, and it's not harmful or anything like, and they go through a lot of training. So, restraint is needed.
And sometimes it's exactly as physical as it sounds, because you've got students all the way down to elementary and middle school. And I believe the isolation booth was at a middle school in Washington State. They can hurt themselves. They can hurt others. There have been teachers that have been hurt. So the restraint that you're talking about, yeah, they are trained to do this. But whenever you get into a physical situation, yeah, things can still happen.
Right.
Carol is a special needs teacher up in Seaford, and she's told me about some of the students that she's taken down because they get violent or out of hand.
Right.
And one time she was wearing a boot on one foot because of an injury she took.
Yeah.
So,
a lot of teachers get injuries, get bit and whatnot. Yeah, it's sad. And I mean, I shouldn't say it's sad, but it's just
difficult.
It's a difficult situation. I wouldn't like the idea of my child being put into basically a padded box.
Right. Now, also, something I just wanted to throw in here real quick. I read an article about this particular case from Huffington Post, and for these special needs students, most of the parents had signed off on it because it was part of the individual education plan, or the IEP, with the student.
Right.
Now, there is word that there are some other parents that they didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So it can kind of go both ways. Well, anyway, as we told you, we had posted this story on Facebook just to see what you thought. Is the isolation booth helpful or harmful? Well, Travis Ayers wrote in and he said, I think it would cause more harm than good. You don't isolate a child that's causing an issue. It's the job of the staff to calm them down. That's just wrong.
And then we got a response from Marcy. She says, I think it is sad that schools are even having to consider a booth like this. However, some kids get pretty violent. This could actually be safer for them and the teachers.
Jenny said, I am a former elementary school employee who has been injured by the children who have reached an unsafe level of outburst and violence toward others. An isolation booth would have been an option for the extreme cases. This should be used as a last resort and only when in danger of harming themselves or others.
And Lillian says, I'm not sure that I would want my child in a booth such as this for anything. I think it would cause more harm than good. It reminds me of the pictures I've seen of mental institutions that have these rooms for people that need straitjackets. Is this what we are coming to? I can't agree to this in any way, shape, or form.
Now, Nancy had something to add here that I can see throwing fuel on the fire. I like to see it as if the children are that darn violent, then school is no place for them to be. Secondly, parents who know their kids are like that should find other resources on where and what is best for the child.
And that a hot issue, obviously. And, you know, and just to comment on that last comment, you know, inclusion is very important for these children as well. But there's just that fine line that
it's a difficult situation that we need to handle.
And if you would like to weigh in on the conversation, just go to our Facebook page.
Yeah, got some good stuff there. Well, still ahead on Delmarva Life this afternoon, many of us are looking for options when it comes to a heat source in the home and in the business.
Well, today Brian is getting all the information you need to know when it comes to propane. Brian?
Well, Lisa and Jimmy, propane is very versatile, and the folks from Aero Energy are going to tell us all about it, plus what you need to know when it comes to the tanks, safety, and maintenance. We're going to lay it all out for you. Stay with us. You're watching Delmarva Life. We will be right back.